So 2-3 is on solving formulas. And this one has stuff done out for you. I will tell you that another teacher typed this up because she was going to be out today. So we're going to use this so that I'm not going to have as many notes. And so I'm not going to go through all of it with you, but then we are going to do 3 problems at the end. But I'm going to touch upon the first part of it. So a formula. What we are doing is we are going to use the formula, which is a specific rule for doing specific calculations. And we're going to solve for a variable. And that means that we're going to get that variable alone. So if they gave us the formula, it's going to look like this. W equals EI. They tell you to solve for I. That means they want I by itself. So because E is doing what to I? It's timesing it, so the opposite would be dividing it. And that's what you get. And so that would be your answer right there, because you divide it out. Sometimes when it has a formula that has a little bit more in detail and you want to solve for B, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take that 5/2 and distribute it, right? So you'll distribute it to both of them, and then once you distribute it, you'll get this answer, and then they simply added 50 to both sides. And then once you got it to this point, you would multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal would be your 2/5, and that's what it's saying here. So you multiply by your 2/5 to get it alone. And I am just talking it through these ones, but you are going to keep these, and we are going to do 3 together. So I'm just kind of getting your mind to thinking about what we have to do on certain cases. On example 3, what they had is they have A is equal to your P plus PRT for P. So because P is in 2 locations and we're solving for P by itself, then we have to factor. So we are going to factor out the P. So that's why they pulled out the P and they got here. And then they wanted to get rid of this. So they simply divided by the 1 plus RT. All right, and then this is your final answer. All right, so here we go. This is what we are going to try. So you're going to try one, and then we'll make sure you're at the right one. So we have A is equal to, the area is equal to the length times the width, and you are solving for your L. So take a second and do that one. Yep. Yep, they're right where you are. Oh, can you do that? Give them 1 second, and then I'll call you if I know. Yep, sorry. All right, so Zach.
Divide by W.
I'm going to divide by W because this is multiplying it, so I'm going to divide by W. The W's will cross out, and my answer then will be A is equal to
A over W.
A over W. All right, try this one. Try number 2, the second type. So we have P is equal to 3/5 times C plus 10, and you're solving for C. So if you need to, look at your example 2 and then try to do number 2. All right, Matthew, just tell me the first step. Do you know what the first step is on that when I want to solve for P here? So what are we going to do with the parentheses? What am I going to do with that? I want to solve for C, so what am I going to let him think? What would you do with that 3/5? Multiply it. You're going to distribute it. Very good. So if you have not yet done so, multiply it through, distribute. So when you multiply this out, you would get P is equal to 3/5 times C, Matthew, is 3/5 C. Now, if you are struggling with this, what you can do is go 3 times 10, because that's on top, divided by 5 if you need to. Do you know what that is? Yep, 6. All right. All right. Robin, what would I do next? I'm solving for C.
You would subtract 6 from each side.
I'm going to subtract 6 from each side. Very good. So I have P minus 6 is equal to 3/5 C. And Lucas, what are you going to do next? The final step. All right, so I want to get C by itself. So what is 3/5? So you would divide by 3/5, but it's also the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply both sides by 5/3. This will cancel with that because 3's cancel, the 5's cancel, and you're left with that. Now, so we have 5/3, so you can see it, times P minus 6 is equal to C. And then we have just one last step on simplifying. One last step on simplifying. So simplifying, remember, is trying to do everything that you can possibly do. Anybody know what the last step is? Do you know what it is? Distribute is right. So we're going to distribute this to both of them. So we have here 5/3 P, and then you have here 5 times 6, which gives me 30, divided by 3, which gives me a negative 10. All right, last one. I want you guys to try number 3. And it is G is equal to, or X is equal to, because I was solving for G, sorry, I was thinking, X is equal to G minus GR squared P, and you're solving for G. And if you guys have room, you probably can write it over, like right here if you wanted. I know some of you probably have room. You could write it there, or you could write it on a sheet of paper. It doesn't matter, but you probably could find room for that. Right, I'm going to give you a second. I want you to talk to your shoulder partner or your group if your shoulder partner doesn't know. See if you guys can figure out real quick what's your first step, because I'm going to be calling upon somebody. Just make sure everyone knows. If you don't know, make sure you ask somebody around you. Make sure you know the answer. All right. So, eyes and ears. As soon as we're done with this is our last one. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to solve for G, right? So, Courtney, what did you guys get with that? Do you know? You want to pull the G's out. Yes, you want to factor. So if you ever if you're solving for something and they are in both things, remember that you want your next step is to factor, just so you know. So we are pulling out the G's in common, and we have to say G times what will give me G? 1. And then I have minus, and now I'm looking G times what will give me G r squared P. So it would be r squared P, very good, is equal to my x. Now you always ask yourself, what is this doing to G? It's multiplying. So the opposite is divide. So we are going to divide by the whole thing. 1 minus r squared P. 1 minus r squared P. And you want to make sure that line is over all of it, so you can definitely see that that's on the bottom. Because this is the same thing as up there and this is multiplying, you can cross these out. So our final answer is G is equal to x over 1 minus r squared P. Questions? All right. So the first part of your worksheet is just the same thing. You're going to go through and you're going to figure out which pattern is it fitting. Do I have to factor first? Do I just have to add or subtract or multiply? What pattern is this fitting? And then you're going to solve for the letter that you are asked to solve for. And then it goes to the story problems and it tells you, okay, now look back at the ones and plug in numbers, see what you're finding. And then the back side is mixed review. So that is what you are doing for the rest of the hour. Questions? Sure. 1 year, so just in case your partner has